For years, many adults believed financial freedom meant reaching a certain number, a larger retirement account, more income, more investments, more security, more proof that life was finally under control. But something interesting happens after 50. Many people begin realizing that what they truly want is not endless accumulation, it is peace. They want to wake up without constant financial pressure living in their nervous system. They want to stop feeling emotionally exhausted every time they think about money, retirement, debt, work, or the future. They want breathing room, stability, flexibility, a calmer life that no longer revolves around survival mode. And for many people, this realization can feel confusing at first because they spent decades believing stress was normal adulthood. They adapted to pressure, adapted to overworking, adapted to emotional exhaustion, adapted to carrying everyone else, adapted to constantly worrying about the future. Eventually, the nervous system stopped recognizing stress as temporary and began treating it as permanent. That is why financial reinvention after 50 is not only about money, it is also about emotional recovery. Over the past 12 weeks, this series explored something much deeper than traditional financial advice. Because financial freedom later in life is rarely just about becoming wealthy. More often, it becomes about rebuilding emotional safety around money, creating a sustainable lifestyle, and learning how to live without fear controlling every decision. One of the most important realizations people experience after 50 is that success begins changing emotionally. Earlier in life, success is often connected to achievement, performance, productivity, status, and proving yourself. But later in life, many adults quietly begin asking very different questions. Does my life actually feel peaceful? Does my schedule support my health? Am I constantly exhausted? Do I feel emotionally safe around money? Do I even like the life I worked so hard to build? And those questions matter because many people eventually discover they built financially demanding lives that quietly drained their nervous system for decades. The house required more work. The career required more sacrifice. The lifestyle required more pressure. The obligations kept expanding. The stress never fully stopped. From the outside, life may have looked successful. Internally, however, many people felt emotionally depleted. One of the strongest themes throughout this entire series is that emotional well-being and financial well-being cannot be separated. When the nervous system lives in chronic stress, financial decisions become harder. People avoid planning because it feels overwhelming. They overspend emotionally because they are exhausted. They stay stuck in unhealthy work situations because fear feels safer than change. They delay investing because risk feels emotionally threatening. They criticize themselves constantly for mistakes made years ago. And eventually, financial stress stops feeling like a temporary challenge and starts feeling like identity. This is where many adults become trapped, not because they are incapable, not because they are unintelligent, but because shame quietly replaces possibility. One of the most important conversations in this series was about financial shame after 50. So many adults secretly carry enormous regret around money. They replay old decisions endlessly: divorce, debt, business failures, missed opportunities, caregiving years, retirement delays, emotional spending, years spent simply surviving difficult circumstances. And over time, many people stop saying, I went through financial hardship, and begin believing I am a financial failure. That emotional shift is devastating because shame creates paralysis. People stop opening bills, stop checking accounts, stop investing, stop planning, stop believing improvement is possible. But financial history is not financial destiny. Most people made decisions while carrying stress, fear, responsibilities, emotional wounds, health challenges, relationship pressures, or survival circumstances that others never fully saw. The goal is not pretending mistakes never happened. The goal is refusing to let those mistakes become identity. Another major lesson from this series is that financial peace does not always come from needing more. Sometimes it comes from needing less. Many adults eventually realize that freedom increases dramatically when life becomes simpler, simpler schedules, simpler obligations, less debt, less comparison, less pressure to maintain appearances, less emotional exhaustion. And surprisingly, simplification often creates more relief than endless striving ever did. Because the nervous system does not only respond to income, it responds to pressure. This is why some people earn more money than ever before, yet still feel emotionally unsafe financially. Their nervous system never learned how to relax. Fear simply attached itself to larger numbers. That is why emotional healing matters so much. True financial reinvention after 50 involves rebuilding the relationship with money itself, learning how to stop organizing life around fear, learning how to regulate stress instead of constantly reacting to it, learning how to separate self-worth from income, learning how to create stability without perfection. Another important shift explored throughout this series is the idea that reinvention does not belong only to the young. So many adults over 50 underestimate themselves professionally. They assume opportunity belongs to younger generations. They believe they are behind. They dismiss decades of experience because it feels ordinary to them. But experience has enormous value. Communication skills, resilience, emotional intelligence, leadership, wisdom, perspective, problem solving, life experience. These qualities matter deeply in today's economy. Many people are discovering that consulting, coaching, teaching, writing, digital products, mentoring, and experience-based businesses can create not only additional income, but also flexibility, meaning, and emotional alignment later in life. And this matters because many adults are no longer searching only for money. They are searching for sustainable work, work that does not destroy their health, work that supports their nervous system, work that allows freedom, creativity, contribution, and purpose to coexist. Another powerful lesson throughout the series is that investing after 50 is far more emotional than most people realize. People often believe they are struggling with financial knowledge when, in reality, they are struggling with fear, fear of losing money, fear of making mistakes, fear of starting too late, fear of uncertainty, fear of regret. But investing later in life does not need to resemble the aggressive financial narratives constantly promoted online. For many adults, investing becomes something much more grounded and practical, protecting future independence, creating flexibility, reducing vulnerability, supporting long-term stability, caring for the future version of yourself, and often consistency matters far more than perfection. Not dramatic breakthroughs, not perfect timing, not becoming a financial expert overnight, just steady, intentional movement forward. Small decisions repeated consistently over time create extraordinary transformation emotionally and financially. Perhaps the most important message of this entire series is this: it is not too late to create a calmer life. It is not too late to rebuild confidence. It is not too late to simplify. It is not too late to learn. It is not too late to create new income. It is not too late to heal your relationship with money. It is not too late to stop living entirely in survival mode. The future does not belong only to people who started perfectly. It also belongs to people who adapt, who rebuild, who simplify, who learn, who heal, who stop allowing fear to dominate every decision. Financial freedom after 50 is ultimately not about becoming someone else. It is about becoming more aligned with who you are now, what matters most to you, and how you want the years ahead to actually feel. If you want to go deeper into these ideas, the full 12-week series is available inside the magazine, where each article explores these subjects in much greater depth. And if you are looking for additional books, resources, tools, and programs around reinvention after 50, financial healing, confidence, emotional well-being, and creating a more peaceful future, you can also explore The Vault. Everything is designed to help adults create lives that feel not only more financially stable, but also more emotionally sustainable. Because in the end, true freedom is not simply about having more money. It is about finally being able to breathe again. If this conversation resonated with you, I invite you to read the complete 12-week series Inside Empowering Entertainment magazine, where we go much deeper into every subject we discussed today: financial healing, reinvention after 50, emotional well-being, sustainable income, investing, confidence, nervous system recovery, and creating a calmer, more meaningful future. You can click the link below this video to start reading the full series. And if you are looking for additional books, tools, guides, and resources designed specifically for adults rebuilding life after midlife, you can also explore The Vault for deeper support and transformation. Thank you for being here, and more importantly, thank you for giving yourself permission to believe that your future can still become something peaceful, stable, meaningful, and deeply fulfilling.